Welcome to W Instinct Studio. Here you will find everything about the alternative stories of the MCU, aligning the connection between Doom and the Fantastic Four. Let's get to the point. The awakened entity. The emptiness of space was cold, silent, and, to most living things, terrifying. But not for Victor Stark, the dark fusion of Tony Stark's genius with Victor Von Doom's mystical legacy. In his greenish armor, encased in sorceries carved into the titanium, Doom Stark floated in the heart of an unstable interstellar field, surrounded by dimensional rifts. In his hands, he didn't just carry power. He carried a cosmic secret still unfolding. Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. But more than that, a living anomaly with DNA that defied the laws of biology, physics, and even reality. Doom didn't just kidnap him, he analyzed him, fragment by fragment. Thought by thought, Franklin was asleep, or so it seemed. His body was in stasis, sealed inside a dimensional capsule powered by energy from the negative zone. Doom studied his cellular structure like someone studying the code of a god. It contains the primordial radiance, the spark before existence, Doom muttered, watching Franklin's brain synapses flicker like constellations. But even to Doom Stark, something felt and out of control. For days, or perhaps weeks, since time on that plane did not flow the same way, Victor absorbed the boy's knowledge, not to destroy it, but to understand how he was able to shape universes with his imagination. Doom wanted that power. I wanted to use it to rewrite all timelines, eradicate humanity's flaws, eliminate the randomness of the gods, and forge a perfect universe. No error, no failure, no choice. But as the mystical algorithms analyzed Franklin, something inside the boy began to react. The unexpected mutation. Franklin's cells weren't just alive. They were evolving. As if they were absorbing everything Doom threw at them. Spells, formulas, calculations, mental manipulations, and spitting it back out. Adaptive growth. Victor thought the boy was asleep, but Franklin was dreaming. And in his dreams, he began to understand what he was and what it could become. In one of these sessions, Doom altered the capsule's internal gravitational field, an attempt to stimulate controlled multiversal reactions. But as he did so, an unexpected spark flashed in Franklin's chest. Small, blue, vibrant. Victor approached. "What is that?" he murmured, his sensors trying to decode the frequency. But no equation explained what he saw next. The capsule cracked. It didn't break. It opened of its own free will, and Franklin floated out. There was no more fear in his eyes. There was no confusion. Just awareness, and behind him, a white, fluid, vibrant aura appeared. It was as if the universe itself was recoiling from his presence. The Doom error. Victor instantly activated containment protocols. Mystical rings spun. Shields of enchanted adamantium sealed the space. Mind control runes lit up around the ship. "Return to stasis now!" Doom ordered, his amplified voice echoing among the stars. But Franklin just looked at him and replied, "You don't understand, Victor. I'm not just Franklin anymore." Doom hesitated. "What are you then?" The boy, now with the aura growing around him like a second living skin, whispered, "I am the next step." And at that moment, space distorted around. Entire nebulae went dark. Matter began to respond to the child's simple thought. Franklin Richards was becoming go beyonder. Victor fell to his knees, not out of weakness, but because existential disorientation. He felt as if he were standing before something that not only transcended power, but transcended a definition of being. All the shields he had built, all barriers, all spells, they were disabled by a single choice. Franklin was no longer a prisoner, not even protected, not even a child. He was the primordial spark, the entity, the next beyonder. Victor stepped back, his hand trembling, activating his armor. "I am Doom," he said, trying to reaffirm his identity. "And you," Franklin interrupted him. "I am that which not even the gods understand. I am what is to come." In space, the stars began to rearrange themselves. Galaxies formed patterns. The very structure of the multiverse was being rewritten by the mind of a newly awakened entity. Franklin Richards had ceased to be human. Now he was the Beyonder. And Victor Stark, the man who tried to rob him. He was kneeling before the new god. The new God Wars. The silence of space had been replaced by an ancient sound, the vibration of creation. Franklin Richards floated in the void where Doom Stark's ship had once stood. Now, everything around him was enveloped in a translucent white layer, a new reality in formation, shaped not by technology or sorcery, but by absolute will. Before him, Victor Stark, the man who was once Tony Stark and later played Dr. Doom, remained kneeling. The shattered armor, the wide eyes, and for the first time, fear etched on the face of the man who had once defied titans and gods. Franklin approached slowly, his feet touching nothing, for there was no longer space or time as we knew it. "You tried to imprison me, Victor." Franklin's voice was now pure echo, resonating in all directions. I wasn't just a kid anymore, it was a force. But without knowing, he set me free. Victor tried to get up. "It's not too late to understand. You don't have to become what others fear. You can learn, control. You can..." Franklin reached out, not with hostility, but with understanding. "I'm not here to control, Victor. I'm here to fix it." The call. With a gentle movement, Franklin touched Victor's chest. The energy enveloped him, not as an attack, but as a revelation. In that instant, Doom saw all realities at once. Thousands of versions of yourself. Some heroic. Other, the monstrous ones. Some that were never born. Some who died as martyrs. And he realized the multiverse was collapsing not because of chaos, but due to excess choices. Franklin turned his gaze to the stars and raised both hands. The space folded. Realities began to merge. Planets vibrated. Parallel dimensions stirred. Ancestral gods have awakened. And then Franklin spoke with all the voices. 2. "All existences, come to me. Come to my domain. Come to the neutral ground of truth, the world of war." In seconds, an entire planet was formed out of nothing, but not an ordinary planet. Its core was made of pure fundamental energy. Its crust of matter intertwined with realities. Your sky, a reflection of the void where universes are born. Franklin called it the world of convergence. Or as others would soon call it, Battle World, the inevitable confrontation. From this new world, Franklin began to bring all the beings of the multiverse. Avengers variants who never met mutants from the universes extinguished by the Kangs Forgotten. Heroes in isolated timelines, villains who had conquered their worlds, cosmic entities such as the Living Tribunal, Eternity, Galactus, and even the Watcher. They did not come of their own free will. They came because there was nowhere else to go. Their realities were being absorbed. At the center of this new world, Franklin waited. He did not seek war, but I knew that where there are multiple truths, there is conflict. Each group, each faction, believed they had the answer to saving the multiverse, and the boy who was now the Beyonder would be the final judge. Doom Stark's reaction. Victor Stark, even though he was still injured, remained by the new Beyonder's side, not as a servant, but as the Aoid first to understand what was to come. "You've created a tribunal of 1,000 voices, Franklin. But what if none of them are right?" Franklin replied. "Then, let them destroy each other, and from the ruin will emerge what is true." The impact, the distortions generated by Franklin affected all previous sagas of the multiverse. The Infinity Gauntlet fragments react to the new power. The remnants of the defeated Kangs attempt to infiltrate Battleworld. Shuri, in another universe, detects the disappearance of entire layers of reality. An old man, Logan, from a world where everything died, is transported to fight again. Peter Parker, with his memory still marked by the multiverse of No Way Home, appears, and realizes that none of this should be happening. The new rule. Franklin erected a new universal law. No more separate universes. No more infinite choices. This is the only field where everything will be decided. From then on, everything would be defined by a war, not of force, but of purpose. Secret wars. Doom. Stark silently watches the movement of forces gathering on Battleworld. Beside him, Franklin Beyonder floats above the surface of the new world, and in his mind, one last question echoes. What will come after? The last battle? Franklin looks at him and doesn't answer, because not even a god. You know what's left when all the truth collides. What did you think of all this? Does it make sense to you for Franklin Richards to become the new Beyonder entity? Click the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Until next time, bye.
To me.
Please stay away. Stay away from me!
Stop her quickly. Wait! Jean, please!
I know whose blood that was.
This is my destiny.
The return of the X-Men now in the MCU will change many things in history. Within the universe of the comics, it seems that there has always been a conflict between the Avengers and the mutants. Differences in ideologies, protection, or even a tireless search for power, all of this will make the gears of destiny change. This story that I will bring now is literally insane. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. After the events of Doomsday, when Doom Stark, the fusion between Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom, nearly rewrote the entire multiverse, the entire world was faced with a delicate and extremely dangerous decision. Doom Stark, now voluntarily exiled in Latveria, built an empire made of technology, magic, and absolute power, creating dimensional barriers that kept any invader away, and any threat outside his domains. In a controversial decision, the new Avengers, led by Sam Wilson, decided to accept a provisional peace agreement with Doom, allowing him to live in isolation, as long as he did not cross the borders of Latveria. A decision that for some was a sign of wisdom, for others, of weakness. But not everyone agreed with this. Not everyone was willing to turn a blind eye to such a great threat, even if it was for now contained. And it was within the silent walls of Xavier's school that the first signs of rupture began to emerge. Magneto, standing before a holographic projection that showed Doom walking freely through the streets of Latveria, watched in complete silence, until finally he broke the silence of the room with a voice filled with fury and contempt. They simply let him live. After everything, after Doomsday, after we almost lost all existence, they simply let him. And as surprising as it was, for the first time in decades, Professor Charles Xavier did not disagree with Eric. In a serious and resolute tone, Xavier simply stated, "Eric is right. Doom Stark is not just a threat. He is a mistake that cannot, under any circumstances, be tolerated. If the Avengers will not act, then we will." The shock was immediate. The room filled with tension. John Gray, Scott. Summers, Wolverine, and Storm looked at each other, unable to believe what they were hearing. Cyclops himself, always the most rational, asked directly, "So, are we declaring war on the Avengers?" Magneto, crossing his arms and giving a cold smile, answered without blinking, "It's not war, it's correction." And Xavier, in a firm tone, completed, "They made a decision. Now, we make ours." On the other side, at the new Avengers Tower, an alert went off. Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, Yelena Belova, and Frank Castle quickly gathered in the command room. AI Friday was firing off reports. Mobilization detected. Magneto, Professor Xavier, and multiple members of the X-Men are on their way to Latveria airspace. Sam clenched his fists, staring at the map. I knew this was going to happen. They didn't accept it. They couldn't accept it. Bucky, crossing his arms, answered dryly, "To be fair, I don't accept it either." Yelena, looking at the data, completed. "But war between us? Between the Avengers and the X-Men? That's insanity." And Frank Castle, always straightforward, slowly stood up, cocked his rifle, and fired without hesitation. It's not the first time that heroes have killed each other over differences, and, the way things are, it won't be the last. Sam took a deep breath, looked at everyone, and in a heavy tone declared, "They think we're weak for not eliminating Doom. They think we're bowing down, but they don't understand. They don't understand that avoiding war is much harder than making it. But maybe they'll understand now." Meanwhile, in Latveria, lightning cracked the sky. Storm and Magneto advanced, splitting the skies, manipulating the weather and electromagnetic fields around Doom's borders. The capital was completely protected, encased in dimensional force fields and magical circuits. And there, atop Latveria Tower, Doom Stark watched it all, arms crossed, staring at the monitors. They came. Humans. Mutants. They never learn. But let them destroy themselves. I am no longer their problem. They will burn each other. And then the inevitable happened. From the east, the X-Men descended. Magneto floated slowly, his eyes glowing, followed by Jean Grey, Cyclops, Logan, and Storm. Opposite, on the west side, the new Avengers took position. Sam Wilson flew low, shield in hand. Bucky and Frank Castle prepared their heavy arsenal, and Yelena, positioning herself with her attack drones. The silence that preceded the battle was more deafening than any explosion. Sam broke first. "Last chance. Come back. It doesn't have to be this way." Magneto, with a look of contempt, replied, in a voice that sounded like twisted iron. "You carry a shield, but you don't understand what it means to protect. You chose to live kneeling before Doom. We chose to stand." Cyclops completed, activating his visor. "You chose the wrong side." And Frank, aiming the rifle, just said, "I only see targets." The first shot came from Cyclops. The crimson beam tore through the field, being reflected by Sam's vibranium shield, who immediately flew towards Magneto, trying to attack him from above. Bucky and Frank fired, but Jean Grey, with her telekinesis, crushed the drones before they could even reach him. Yelena went to the flanks trying to disarm Logan, but the mutant advanced without hesitation, tearing through the shock fields like paper. It was chaos. Total chaos. Mutants and humans, heroes and heroes, all colliding over a simple matter of ideology, justice, or survival. And there, in the shadows of his fortress, Doom Stark watched. Hands clasped behind his back, watching every move, every blow, every mistake, and smiling slightly. They destroy each other, while I watch. Because in the end, this was never a game about who was right or wrong. It was always a question of who will survive the longest at the end of time. Continues. What will trigger this whole event? Which side will come out on top? Click the like button and see you in the next video. Bye.